So with me today are two members of a great lacrosse family from Akwesasne and the Benedict family. Your family has a long involvement with the game, and today we want to learn a bit about that, learn about what you liked about playing the game and where you played.
Hi, my name is Ben Benedict, Akwesasne territory. I grew up here. 66 years old, born January 6, 1958. Member here for all my life, and on my right hand side here is my brother Owen.
Sergo, my name is Owen Benedict. I'm 53 years old. I'm the younger one of the two brothers that are sitting here. And again, we are born and raised here in Akwesasne. Predominantly grew up in St. Regis. And we're just here to tell our story today about our involvement in lacrosse and whatever we were doing, playing, making, or doing whatever, coaching, etc. So
maybe we could start off. Your family's been involved in this game for well over 100 years, much longer than that. And can you go back as far as you can with like one of your oldest ancestors that you know of that played this game?
Well, my great grandfather, Peter Garrow Sr., he was a goalie back in the day, late 1800s, early 1900s. I grew up having the chance to be with him until he passed away in his 90s. But I got to ride with him to the Hoogensburg Bowl. I got to sit on. He always sat me on the Coca-Cola cooler. And I got to go walk around the outside box and watch my dad play, Lawrence Martin, Angus, Abe Thomas, Angus George, people like that, the great legends of the past. So, but Peter played for a long time, all his life, and it was just so honored to have that chance with him.
And that was your great-great-grandfather.
Yeah.
Did your great-grandfather play as well, or did he leave the game, or do you know?
No, I don't know. I know of Peter Garrow, Joe Benedict, my grandfather, my dad, and my brother.
So maybe tell us about your dad. Your dad did some incredible things in the game, and do you, as far back as you can remember that he's told you, like how did he start out, if you remember that? And
I don't really remember his senior era in Ontario. He played for the Scovies. He attained the fastest three goals ever off the face-off. After the second period, they were losing, and they managed to win the game. In the St. Catharines Minor Arena, there's a plaque on the wall, and it tells everybody about this accomplishment. But he had 3 goals in 17 seconds, and sponsored by Nabisco Shredded Wheat, and he was the first star, and him and this huge defense carried the box off the floor. And see, I can remember somewhat of those times, and then him playing for Valleyfield. He played for Valleyfield and was captain, and they won the championship a few times, but I grew up in those arenas, so I would go at him, and
yeah, just great to see you, Dad,
yeah.
playing that. And there's like Valleyfield. That's like a 5,000 seat arena, from what I think people were telling me. So
about that, yeah.
Quite an atmosphere when they were playoffs or a big game.
Huge atmosphere. Like he had Ronald Thomas, Bobby Sunday, Abe Thomas, and my Uncle Mike played later on after they started as a junior player, I believe. But yeah.
All right, and I know Owen, you're younger, obviously,
Yeah.
than Benny. And did Benny introduce you to the game, or how did you get started?
Well, I'm much younger. I mean, geez, there's what, 13-year difference? 11-year difference?
12 year, I don't know,
So,
something like that.
I mean, rarely, I mean, us growing up, it was, I mean, I just remember my uncle and my father basically just coaching us. I didn't really get to see, I got to see my uncle play a little bit. I vaguely remember it because, I mean, we're on the I guess they were just ending their prime, his prime, and then watching my brother play for the Warriors, and at that time, and my father was always involved in the game, coaching the senior men's lacrosse teams, whatever team it may be. And then, I mean, I was born in 1970, so back then we didn't have minor lacrosse, so it was always just ad hoc teams thrown together, playing against Kahnawake or whatever it may be, going to a box and playing, and nothing really organized until not much organized lacrosse. There wasn't much of a minor system back then, but we all knew how to play. We grew up with the stick in our hands. We'd play box lacrosse, and then once we reached high school age, we'd always either play box lacrosse, junior Eagles, which was our junior Eagle lacrosse team, which was the first kind of box lacrosse team we sort of, besides some of the minor box lacrosse games, but we went into high school and just played field lacrosse. So
What high school did you?
at that time, because of the sports in the sports system in the high school in the New York side, I went to Salmon River.
Oh.
And there was a pretty strong native teaching support system there. I had a great coach. His name was David White.
Yeah.
And we had native counselors which supported us, which kind of made us go there. We had, I mean, there's back then it's 50-60% native population, so we always had our cousins or friends we grew up with. We would always play together on whatever sport we played, and predominantly back then it was always, we didn't really have a football team, but it was either soccer, hockey, or lacrosse, field lacrosse. So, and my father always stressed that he believed in education. He was he believed in sports. He believed in the theory of being a student athlete. So he always pushed us towards that. So me growing up, I was always expected, you're gonna go to college. So, but back then we never really got recruited to play sports in college. There was no such thing, but we were urged to do well in sports in school. So that's kind of what we did. And I just remember growing up with the game, my uncle and my dad coaching us, starting at a very young age, and either these box games or whatever it is they could organize. We'd often, it wasn't really much of a formalized league. Sometimes we'd have house leagues or whatever, but we'd go to Kahnawake or wherever just to play ad hoc here and there.
All outdoor boxes back then.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the Peter Garrow, who's a great educator from Akwesasne now, did he have any involvement in your growing up with the game? Or was he just an educator, or was he involved with lacrosse as well? Just wondered.
Yeah, he was a little bit. He helped Ronald Thomas, which was my goalie, Brian Thomas, his dad, and I grew up there. I grew up with that family, and we played in the schoolyard right outside their kitchen window all summer. Play lacrosse, go swimming. Play lacrosse, go swimming.
Mm-hmm.
But Peter helped Ronald when he coached the junior Bs for a short period of time.
Right.
I played under him.
Now, Benny, you really got involved in trying to build a formal minor system here at Akwesasne, right?
Yeah, back in 1990, there was a group of us, like Alec Point, Steve Lazor, his wife, and others. So we sat around a table at Mohawk Council, a Mohawk Council building, and we decided to put together a minor system for our youth. We had no boxes, so we asked the recreations to build the outside boxes, and that's what we played with for a few years. That was a great start. We raised, actually I raised enough money to buy, I think there was 21 sets of jerseys going from peanuts all the way to midget. So once you leave midget, then you're now it's intermediate, but after midget, before it was juniors and then seniors. But yeah, a friend of mine, Rayco, who supplies a lot of the apparel and jerseys and everything, he says, man, everybody told you weren't gonna be able to do it, but you did it. You raised the money, you got all those jerseys, all the different sizes for the different age groups, and you really helped put it together. So that was a big accomplishment for us. So we started the minor system,
You did that
outside
for-
boxes, and then later on the arena came, and that kind of did its thing. So yeah, I was president for 6 years, and I was in the minor system for 12. So
a lot of effort.
Mhm.
a lot of effort, a lot of road work.
Yeah.
I remember back then, I mean, I was in high school just entering college, but our father was focusing on the lacrosse stick making industry and whatever else, basket making, handcrafts, whatever it is. We were always involved in wood, but he basically, because that was his focus, and then he was starting up men's junior lacrosse and senior lacrosse at the time, and that's when he approached my brother Ben. He said, "You focus on the minors," and that's when that all started to flourish.
Wow.
And then like my father was the president of the ILA and all that, and he was coaching juniors, whatever point in time. But we were just trying to strengthen and get these teams up and running and organized. So I mean, that was his responsibility and task, I guess, at the time. So it's a pretty big accomplishment back then. It was,
Almost top to bottom through the efforts of the Benedict family, you know?
and a lot of others. It wasn't.
A lot of others, but, yeah.
I remember one of the players coming to my house with a senior A championship in Canada, and he gave me a hat. He goes, "Here you go, coach." Yeah, just won senior A championship in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yes, yeah. Didn't you play in the Commonwealth Games at some point?
Yes, 1978.
Yeah.
We played 2 games. It was an amazing trip. I lost a really good friend shortly after that due to an accident on the bridge. But yeah, we played together. 1978, we played against Kahnawake. We won both games.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was that in Alberta or
Edmonton.
Edmonton where that was played? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing trip.
It was.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you earlier. Did you had children, and were they able to pick the game up at all, or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they all played. They're all athletic. They all play lacrosse, hockey, soccer, skiing, whatever it may be. Not so much in the lacrosse world, but they're very strong athletes, whether it be weightlifting or whatever it may be, and they're all strong students. So I can be proud of that. I'm very happy for that. So.
Well, tell me, Who are your children? What are their names?
My 3 boys, I have 3 boys. They're Colin, who's 23 right now, Carter, who's 21, and Wyatt, who's 18. And they're all graduated, if not going to be graduating from college. My youngest is at Damon University in Buffalo. My middle one is going to graduate from Rochester Institute of Technology this May. And Colin, my oldest, graduated from Cornell, and he's graduating from the language program in Six Nations Polytechnic Institute in the Ogowana. He's taken 2 language programs, and he's going on to McGill. So this fall for his grad work.
McGill?
Yes.
Yeah. Very good, very good. And yourself, Benny, with your children?
I have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Like I said, one graduated from SUNY, and the oldest one graduated from Ottawa U, magna cum laude education, and Trent University. She actually has 2 degrees. Okay, my son, he's working away right now, but and then he had 4 sons.
Okay, your
Yeah.
grandsons.
So my wife and I are now raising those. We've been raising those 4 sons
Oh boy.
since they were little guys. They need a chance. We're giving them that chance.
Yeah.
I got 3 of them in cadets in Cornwall, so yeah, it's really good. Our oldest grandson just was accepted to St. Lawrence College in Kingston, the law enforcement program.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and the other one's just graduating grade 8, and he's moving on to high school.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then the 2 little guys, well, one just had knee surgery, and he's healing, but the little guy, Brendan Jr., he's just getting taller.
He's going up. So, Owen, you ended up playing a lot of university lacrosse in the U.S.
Mhm.
How did that all come to be for you?
Well, after graduating high school, like I said, we had a pretty talented high school team, but back then we never got really looked at or anything. And ending my junior year, I mean, that's the time you got to start looking at college and stuff like that. And somebody just gave me a video of Long Island University, and it had an ocean and a beach and a lacrosse team. So, and I'll be honest, it was like growing up here on the St. Lawrence River. Everybody fished. We love fish. We love always on the water. And it was one of the best marine biology schools on the East Coast. So I said, I'll go there.
Oh, okay.
So I started out as a marine biology major. I applied, I got accepted, and kind of a very, it was a good financial aid package, so I ended up going there. No, I mean, not really. I mean, yes, it had a lacrosse team. I'd not recruited or nothing. I just know it had a lacrosse team, and I said I'd go there. No, that'd be cool to, at least they have it. Maybe I'll play. So I ended up getting accepted and going there, and in September-ish, when you check into your dorm, and then one of my suite mates comes up to me and says, "I heard you play lacrosse." I says, "Yeah, I do." So he says, "Well, why don't you come out for the lacrosse team?" And that was it. So ended up just playing that spring, and ended up being, I was a freshman, being rookie of the year, and playing on Long Island and all over the eastern seaboard was a great experience. Ended up being captain for the next 4 years. MVP of the team and all that. It was a great experience, and I ended up getting my education. One year I transferred down to Gardner-Webb, which was in North Carolina. We had a coach that was starting up a program, and he just said, he just picked players. They called him the Johnny Appleseed of lacrosse. His name was Randy Mills. But he would pick players from not really recruited or whatever, but he would pick players from people like players that nobody wanted, but they could play the game. And he would take these players and start these lacrosse programs. And he says, "Why don't you come down and play?" And we actually, 3 of us from the Long Island University team, we transferred. We went to Gardner Webb College and played. I mean, it's beautiful weather, beautiful. We played lacrosse all year round, and it's down in the Carolinas, which is kind of the Bible Belt, so to speak, and it was a Baptist college. So we had a ball, kind of a very talented team. We had players from Long Island area, New York area, Maryland area, and then we just picked up athletes and taught them to play. And we were undefeated that spring season, but as the season evolved and the chemistry of the Baptist college and bringing a bunch of Northerners down there, I mean, we had a fun time. I mean, we were going to class, we had a fun time. And the chemistry of the university, and the coach actually got wind that they didn't like, I guess, our spirit of our team, I'll say. And he didn't go in the NCAA route. He declared his club because he kind of, it was a bunch of, I'll say, Yankees or non-Baptist people, players, athletes going to this school, and literally we would wake up in the mornings and there'd be a Bible at your door on the other side. So it was kind of a culture thing.
Yeah.
And the coach actually was stressed out about it. He had an ulcer and went in a hospital being stressed out, but he declared his club. So I didn't lose a year eligibility. We played out our season. We were undefeated season, and they canceled the lacrosse program. So that was my 4th year. But then I transferred back to Long Island University and finished out my 5th year, and I was able to play 5 years of lacrosse, which kind of benefited me. So I finished my degree there. But traveling all over the East Coast, from Daytona to Maryland to Virginia to Long Island to upstate New York was a fantastic experience for me.
Between the 2 schools, what were some of the teams you played?
Oh my God.
Like bigger schools or whatever.
It was a Division III / Division II school. I mean, from I'm trying to think of some of the southern, not D1 schools. It was a Division III, Division II school.
You ever play Roanoke?
Yeah.
Yeah, Roanoke.
Yeah, Roanoke, and like it's Pfeiffer, Charlotte.
Pfeiffer,
I mean, there was Embry-Riddle and some schools down there that were starting lacrosse. I mean, on Long Island there was Stony Brook. There was, I mean, I played for LIU. There was Pace, Mercyhurst, Siena. I'm trying to think of. There's some Army, Navy schools. The one I can't think of the one underneath the bridge there in New York City. All kinds of schools. So.
Then how about upstate? Who did you play against?
Well, when I say upstate, looking at it from Long Island, we didn't go much further than not even up to Albany area, which is downstate for us down here. So yeah. Probably the furthest place north was I'm trying to think of the Poughkeepsie area, Siena and all that area. There's some schools in there that we played.
Oh, okay.
Some in Connecticut. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank
Yeah,
right
no,
now.
that's all right.
That was a long time ago.
Put you on the spot, but at the end of it all, you graduated with your marine biology?
No, I graduated with
Really?
an accounting degree, actually.
Yeah.
I changed my major. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they're both useful. That's
Yes,
for sure.
yes.
So,
He counts my pennies.
now, Benny, like, I remember trying to look up a little bit on you beforehand, and what pops up is you're like one of the great craftsmen with wood, like in North America. Like, right? Or you go to the worlds, I guess. And things
Yeah, I
like
go
that.
to the world. I carve birds. I carve other things too, but mostly it's birds. And I go to the Ocean City, Maryland every year. I've been doing this for 33 years,
Wow.
34 years, I believe. Yeah, I'm in the Masters division at the World Championships, and I'm at the cream of the cream, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm competing with the best in the world. You know, when I was 13 years old, I worked at the Lacrosse factory with my dad, and one day I took a cedar. It had a hole in the middle. It was rotten in the middle, but I took a short cedar log, got on the draw knife out, and I carved my first duck. And I gave it to my mother, and she kept it. And she actually gave it back to me, like when I started competing at the Worlds and things like that. But I still have it. And it's pretty cool carving when you first start at 13 years old, you know. But I was at the Lacrosse factory. I was carving, you know, carved sticks and.
So you learned how to use the
worked-
tools through the lacrosse.
I learned how to do it all. I used to clean the bandsaws. I used to clean all the sanding area. I used to move the finished, you know, the product that had to go outside and dry for 2 years. I did it all, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I even fixed the boiler system in there.
So you know, a lot of people know the early days with like Chisholm and Round Point owning the stick making there, and now Mitchell's doing it now, and
Yeah.
and your family, along with Peter Darrow, I
Yes.
guess, took it over for a while. You know, tell that whole.
Oh, you want to hear that story?
I do, yeah, because it's important. Like
Well-
someday people are going to want to know how did the thing work.
My dad and Peter decided they wanted to purchase a lacrosse factory from Chisholm and the Round Point family, and in doing so came all their sales, correct? But their bread and butter to the factory was the field lacrosse stick in the United States, which was pretty much run by STX and Bryan at the time. The lacrosse factory had an exclusive contract with STX and Bryan, and they were to purchase all the field lacrosse sticks from the lacrosse factory at that time, that I knew anyway. And they had sold it to Pete, my dad, and then my dad found out that STX and Bryan were buying all the field sticks, and everything had to go through them. So they did that for a while, and then they STX and Bryan came out with their plastic stick.
Yes, 71 or
71 or so,
Yeah.
and there was a huge decline in the sale of the field lacrosse sticks to the States.
Yeah.
So everything was turning to plastic, and there was nothing my dad could do about that contract that was binding with STX and Bryan and the lacrosse factory. It took him 7 years to break that contract, to be able to sell into the States. Now, I had a daughter go to Ethel Walker School, and she played goalie, and my dad had donated all the field lacrosse sticks, the women's field lacrosse sticks, to them at that time.
Where's Ethel Walker School?
It's in Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's a graduate of Ethel Walker. My other daughter's a graduate of the gunnery.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, Yeah, my dad and Pete, they didn't know about that contract with STX and Brino at the time of
So
purchase.
that was tough.
That was
to be
tough. It
locked
was
into
tough. It almost broke them,
that. Yeah.
to try and survive that 7 years it took to break that contract.
So in total years, how long did the Benedict and Garrow ownership of the factory last? Do you think roughly, like
Roughly 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, probably.
And then who came in afterwards? Mitchell family?
No, my dad, right till he passed away, owned the Lacrosse factory still.
And that was
Mark Mitchell started his side, like his business in that time also.
Okay.
So,
Mid-90s, huh?
yeah,
The 90s? Yeah, just.
Mhm.
yeah. So, but there was also Joe East, his name was Joe East, Joe Delormier.
Okay.
He used to work at the Lacrosse factory also, but
Joe
he had
West.
his, Joe West?
Joe West.
No, Joe East.
Oh, this Joe East, okay.
Joe Delormier. Joe Delormier, yeah. He had built his own little shop, and he was really good at making wooden goalie sticks. Huh?
Okay.
So they and lacrosse sticks, but he passed away too. So yeah.
So your family, until your dad passed away, was connected with the stick making operation?
Yeah. I didn't go into that because of my education and everything. I pretty much followed my field. I was bridge manager for 20 years, and I was one of the co-founders of Iroquois Water. I worked with the Germans and designed a high-speed bottling line for a while.
Wow.
Due to other issues, the company didn't last, but it was a hell of an experience working with the Germans. And then I'm here with MCA in housing department and one of the managers.
Wow. You've
Yeah,
done a lot of different things.
I build passive apartment complexes for our community.
And that all started from a double-handled draw knife, right?
Yeah, yeah. We can do this.
Everything came out of that.
Yeah, we
That's
can
neat.
do this. So that's what I'm doing now. But
Wow.
yeah, my knees are shot, so it's hard to play old sticks anymore.
Yeah.
But we played old sticks for quite a while too.
You ever coach a little bit still, or anything like that, or clinics?
No, I'm. Yeah, I've done my coaching thing with my son and everything.
Yeah.
But my grandsons, one of them's playing right now, OG. But no, I stopped coaching and start concentrating on. We have a camp down on Thompson Island, and we're there all summer.
Yeah.
So we're on the water, like he said, like Owen said, we're always on the water.
Yeah.
So that's where we want to be. I'm 66 years old,
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So Owen, when you got your accounting degree, what did you do after that? After you finished playing down in the U.S., what was your?
Well, back in the middle 90s there, actually I wore this shirt, it's Iroquois Nationals. Well, there was the World Games going on every 4 years.
So you're still playing?
Ended up, yeah, I kept playing. I box or field, whatever we had time for.
And you
Pretty
played,
much played full time.
You played for the Haudenosaunee National Team?
Yeah, Iroquois Nationals back then, but now it's
Iroquois,
called
yeah.
now it's called Haudenosaunee. But I mean, we went to England, we went to Baltimore. I should have went to Australia. There was a trip to Australia, but that year I was finishing my senior year and I had finals, and I just didn't go to do one practice or tryout, and somebody else got to go. So he was lucky. It's a friend of mine, and but I played Iroquois Nationals, whatever event they had, right through. Probably could have kept playing. I was about, 32. I probably could have kept playing back then, but I was kind of settling down, in building housing and having kids and stuff like that. But I mean, back in the 90s, it was, I mean, going through college, I would play my spring season, and we would come back home and play lacrosse, box lacrosse in the summer. So it was always, if there was a junior team, we'd come back and play on your junior team at that time. Back then, we didn't really have a junior team at home, so I had to go play for Ottawa, Gloucester Griffins at the time. I finished my last junior year there, played for the Founders Cup and all that. And after that, I mean, the ILA was formed. And we eventually started playing Senior B, local teams, Outlaws, and then transitions to the Thunder, Senior B, and then ended up winning a couple President's Cup championships. And at that time, I was pretty late. I mean, I guess I got drafted. I didn't know anything about it, but got drafted, and we ended up playing for Syracuse Smash for 2 or 3 years. I think.
How old were you when you started with the Smash?
I think 29.
Okay, you get
30, 31, yeah. I mean, my first son was born, I was playing. And I mean, it was quite a haul. So I worked full time here in a finance for Mohawk Council of Akwesasne, and it was a great place to work. They supported you and your family, and played lacrosse right through. I mean, I would drive to Syracuse to practice once or twice a week, practice and play, and get home 3 in the morning and go to work the next day. It was quite an experience. I played with my cousin on a Syracuse Smash team. And unfortunately, I mean, we had a lot of Akwesasne talented players that would try out, but they couldn't take all of us. I mean politics, and they'd have to keep some Syracuse players. They'd have to draw in from BC and all that. But I think a lot of more players locally should have made the team. But we were one of the lucky 2, if not 3. Local players that would go on and played in a professional league, so it was fun.
What years were those roughly?
Geez, 99, must have been 98.
So you played at Maple Leaf Gardens against the Rock.
Yes.
During that time.
The Spectrum in Philly, all over Buffalo.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep. Albany. Albany had a team then.
Yeah.
I remember playing against like last year's of Darius Kilgore in Albany. That was nice to see him. I played lacrosse, minor lacrosse in Niagara Lake with Darius and his brother, and then seeing him on the floor. Darius was a fantastic scorer. Seeing him score, and his knees were shot pretty much then. They basically let him play power play, and he still scored. Yeah, it was nice to see him back then. Yeah, that was one of my last years playing in the league. So
between your university and that, you saw a lot. Yeah, a lot of places.
Yeah. It was a great experience.
Benny, like when you played, and who were some of the 2 or 3 players you remember as just being that you played against or played with or whatever? If more than that, tell us about it.
Oh boy, I want to go all the way back to the Saturday Heroes. We were on TV. We're staying at people's homes in Toronto, and we were called the Saturday Heroes.
Really?
And it was I think we were like Pee-wee age or whatever, and we would go and we would play. We represented Quebec. We played against Ontario, Nova Scotia, and that's what it was about. And every weekend it was on TV. So
really?
we were we were very young, and
they put that on television?
yeah, they put it on television. That's where I was introduced to TV. No, just kidding. But yeah, I played growing up in the village, and like I said, schoolyard to river, back again. You know what I mean? Then we started playing at the Bob Turner Dairy Foods, 1970 or so. They held tournaments, dairy foods, and it was pretty organized. And we were introduced at that time. And
Who was the best player there that you played against? Or, you know, a couple of them?
who, me?
Yeah, you. Like that along the way that maybe they.
The great Bruce Rompoint when we were playing seniors.
Bruce Rompoint.
And I played with Barry Paulus for a lot of years.
Okay.
Like Barry stayed at my house, so he worked at the Lacrosse factory with me. We had we had an amazing time for 4 or 5 years. Played a lot of lacrosse with Dave White, his coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Dave and my brother Tom played the North-South game together on the North team.
Mm-hmm.
It was held at Cornell,
Mm-hmm.
and Dave got the winning goal.
Yeah.
It went 25-24. It's one of the greatest games I've ever seen. And my brother shot before that, hit the pipe and went 50 yards up in the air back to the midfield. It didn't score though. Then Dave put the next shot in, you know, like a minute later. You know? So
It's funny you say that, winning goal. He did the same thing in Okanagan Valley when we went to Vernon and played in 1992. We won the A championship, the Canadian Masters Championship, and they did the hidden ball trick at the end, and he put it into an open net.
is that the one where they all come together and then they all wait
they all came together.
They all wait cradling. And
Bucktooth was there and was out on the floor at that time also, and yeah, it was amazing. It was a good trip. Yeah, we had.
I used to see the Peterborough boys do that trick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they called it ice cream. That was a code word. For it. I remember seeing that. And how about you, Owen? Like, who are some of the great players that you got to play against or play with?
Well, that's a tough question. I mean, you always have your enemies, and
But you wish they were on your team.
yeah, I mean, but I'd have to say that I'd always adhere to. I don't know, your teammates, your people in the trenches with you. I mean, geez, yeah, I played against the Gate brothers and Johnny Grant Jr. and right on the. I mean, we won a senior A playoff thing. I mean, I was faced up against Johnny Grant Jr. You know, and I defended him. He never scored on me. We beat them.
Was that your role, defensive player?
No, I was all up and down the floor. But I remember playing against him, and I wouldn't let him by me. His last option was throwing a backhand on you, and I couldn't get that in. So playing against the Gate brothers in the pro leagues. I mean, at that time we were playing. Paul was with us on a Syracuse Smash, and then that, I mean, I was always fast, so for Syracuse Smash, I was more of a defensive role on that team, and watching, we played against Philly, and watching Gary Gate coming down on you, he couldn't get around me either, so they were, I mean, I was pretty nervous at that time, but I get back to the bench, and my coach, Vitarelli's from Peterborough, he says, good defense, Owen, so Paul couldn't get around me, so it was those were some of the great players we played against, but with was everybody. I mean, my cousin Mikey to Tyler Sunday to John Tavares to all the Akwesasne players, the talented players that we had. We were there in the trenches, so we always had a good chemistry. And we were there for each other. All the Thomases to the Thompsons to the Mitchells to it was. I mean, their names. We gave our heart out for each other, and we tortured our bodies, but there's no regrets, you know. So everybody had their role. Whether it be a defensive role or we had a bunch of characters, I mean, we'd sit there on the floor and line up, and Tyler's son, he'd taken his cat gut and rubbing your legs, and he'd be feeling you. Okay, you don't have pads here, you know, and that's the way we played, and he, you know, and it's the way the game was. And then we fought for each other. We battled with each other up and down the floor.
Who was the best goalie you ever played with?
Wow.
Blackwood goalies.
Brian Thomas was one of them.
Yeah, Brian was one of them.
Chuggo, yep.
Jojo Francis.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Francis. We had two best, in juniors we had the two best goalies.
Yep.
Jojo Francis and Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember winning the President's Cup in Ladner, and Craigie Delorme had an excellent game.
Yeah.
And I walked up to him, I said, well, it's hard to win MVP of the game as a goalie, yeah?
Yeah.
But they gave it to one of our centerman or whatever, Charlie Lockwood, but I said, that's yours in my book, so. But he played a hell of a game. We won that game, so it was all good.
I've been staring at your logo on your sweatshirt all interview.
Yeah.
Did you get to go over there and play?
Not these countries, but I went to England, and then the 4 years later we went to Baltimore to play the World Games.
Right.
Yeah.
And was that like 96 Baltimore one?
94 and 98.
94, 98. Okay.
Yep.
And I just remember
98 and 02. 94, 98. Yeah.
Yep.
Doesn't have the year in here, but.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the game in the future. We're going to have the game back in the Olympics since 1908 was the last time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be in the LA Olympics in 2028. What do you think it'll do?
I think it's amazing, and I think our minor systems better. I don't know how to put it. Better sharpen up. You know, like keep moving forward, because the Olympics is going to be there every 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Every 4 years, and now they have a supreme goal to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Big deal.
it's amazing. It's just amazing. I knew it would come about someday, you know.
Yeah.
And for other countries to recognize the Haudenosaunee is spectacular.
I mean, like he said, it's going to be awesome. But it's a different generation. The times are changing. I mean, when we grew up, I mean, lacrosse and hockey or whatever it may be is kind of all we had. Like, I mean, we didn't have much television back then. I mean, you only had about 3 or 4 channels. But I mean, this day and age, when you have these phones and all these other attractions, I'll say, distractions, and pulling our youth into other, not picking up a lacrosse stick. We have to try harder, or parent stronger, I think, and strengthen. I mean, help develop our minds and athletes in our youth. So, however that happens, and I mean, whether through minor organizations or house leagues or school teams or whatever it may be, I think that's where the stress in parenting and I mean, strong beliefs and giving them confidence and to pursue, like I said before, being a student athlete, and just do it. Like we kind of, I mean, when I grew up, I just did it. Like I said, I just looked at a video and I said, well, I'll go there and fill out the form, and it happened. So we love the game, and I give credit to a lot of opportunity to the game of lacrosse, all the things that I've accomplished in our lives, and we've always been surrounded by wood. I think it will continue to evolve whatever we do in wood, or whether it be lacrosse sticks to carving to building houses to doing whatever, it will always be around it. So we've both of us have done our stint in coaching and minor organizations, whether it be field or box. I don't know if we become that involved as we were before, but it's like you said, we're getting older now, so it's up to the parents of this new generation to be involved and strengthen these teams and the players coming out of this community. So that's the way I feel, and I hope that happens.
He talks about his travels, and
Yeah.
I talked a little bit about my travels. And one of the travels we got, which was a bonus, was 7 days, 7 nights, St. Thomas, the islands,
Oh, really?
all paid for. All we had to play was 2 exhibition lacrosse games
Really?
for the communities down there. It was after Hurricane Hugo in 1980. So it was all,
How did
it was
that come together?
amazing.
Did the island bring you down, or what? Like how? Like
Yeah, it was some kind of it was an event to raise money to help the people after the hurricane. So we went down and we played for the communities there.
this game's a medicine game.
Yeah.
And that's part of the medicine that trip. You know, knowing
It
that.
was a bonus trip.
Just amazing, huh?
Yeah, just amazing.
Wow. All right, I got one other question. But no, when you were growing up, I talked to a fellow here just this morning, and he goes, "Mikey Benedict was the greatest lacrosse player I've ever seen." That was his opinion, and I go, "Oh, really? I didn't know where he sat." Did you how did you grow up with Mike as part of your group? You were at, was he?
I was much older.
Yeah, so you were kind of.
Him and Mikey all the way up.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah, all the
Okay,
way
you
up.
guys.
Amazing players.
We were often called brothers because we kind of looked alike, and then and as we got older, I kind of got a little bit more taller and handsomer. So, but we were together. We grew up together. We grew up houses from each other.
First cousins.
First cousins.
You guys were brothers.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, we had a good nucleus of
Yeah.
talent and friends and brotherhood in St. Regis and Ganadago and Snai and the island that we were on the floor together. We were same lines. We scored together. We passed the ball, assisted and defended. We were there all throughout. He's only a year younger than me, so
You're right.
we were right there. We played on all of our box lacrosse teams together, whether it be the Eagles to the Outlaws to the Thunder to Syracuse Smash. He played on more NLL teams, but I didn't, but that's okay. To Iroquois Nationals. So I'll just say for the Olympics, to walk out on that field and represent Haudenosaunee, that's a pretty powerful thing. Something I remember. It was pretty awesome. So.
Wow. Yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
very meaningful involvement.
Yep. Like when I grew up, I was in college at the time, but with the lacrosse factory and my dad, it was, him getting things to survive and get the industry to survive was, he was always striving to sell as much sticks, and there was
Keep it alive.
Keep it alive. We employed 2 or 3 stringers, 2 or 3 carvers, and we had other hide depots, and he always believed in making anything out of wood and other ad hoc businesses and promoting he always promoted local artistry, and in that struggle, he fought with NCAA, the rule book, and he got a lawyer, and we traveled to Baltimore and DC area to kind of take on that challenge. And the rule book, and when you're trying to use the wooden stick compared to the plastic stick, that rule of that inside measurement to be a legal stick, he wanted that change to be, for a wooden stick, to be outside measurement across the top of the stick. And he wanted that change for a wooden stick. Because of the width of the stick and the width of the frame, a stick becomes too cumbersome for an offensive player or defensive player to use. So, but unfortunately, he died at 94, and that kind of ended things. But if that would have happened, it would have changed the wooden lacrosse stick industry to this date. But now that the wooden stick is viewed as a weapon, and compared to what we used to play with, and compared to using the plastic stick nowadays, it's unfortunate because it isn't. I mean, yeah, if you're a defenseman and taking on a quick offensive player, like, I can do more damage with my body than a wooden stick, because it's your body and your quickness that plays defense, and you get these people that think the wooden stick is they're out there to hurt you with it, and it's not. It's to I don't like that. So I mean, that's why
to feel the ball.
It's to feel the ball, and yeah, and it's I don't like that when they're taking the wooden stick out of some of these games, because you get people that whine a lot and cry that it hurts and whatever, but that's just my opinion. So
I just want to say that, Akwesasne, we have so much talent, and we have such a small population, and what our peoples put together and show the world is amazing. Just amazing. I don't care if it's art, lacrosse, hockey, whatever. Coming from a very small populated area, it's amazing what we put out. Yeah.
Creative powerhouse.
Yes.
mm-hmm.
And the community is what drives that. If you can see a guy living 2 houses down doing something pretty amazing,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it affects you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to maybe do something as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, well.
Oh, it's nice meeting you.
Yeah, I learned a lot today, so thanks.